What's the soup, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to talk about a theme that I've seen pop up more and more around bad movies and TV shows. It's a strategy that unfortunately has been adopted and normalized by studios and marketing teams trying to salvage a clearly bad project. And that, my friends, is review bombing. Something that we saw utilized aggressively in The Acolyte on Disney Plus a while ago. A show with a very confusing plot, no immersion, and a warped timeline that tries to nostalgia bait fans into a very undeserved second season. And instead of addressing those very valid criticisms, they decided to instead wage war against the Star Wars fandom and make a fool out of themselves in one foul sweep. But I'm not here to beat a dead horse. Disney already does that to themselves on the regular. I want to have a more nuanced conversation about these strategies and what studios and marketing teams are doing wrong. But before I get into it, be sure to like and subscribe if you're into these types of videos. So I watched The Last of Us Part 2 on HBO. And like many of you, I have very mixed feelings. Specifically about the writing and Bella Ramsey's performance as Ellie. Bella's performance as Ellie was underwhelming to me, and I don't think it's necessarily their fault. I honestly thought that their performance in season 1 was great. It was accurate to Ellie's character in that part of the storyline, but this season, something felt very off. For anyone unfamiliar who hasn't necessarily watched the TV show or played the game, consider this your spoiler warning. The second part of the game sees a big shift in Ellie's character. After Joel's death, she becomes darker and a lot more ruthless, driven by revenge, and it's complex. You're not supposed to fully agree with her or her actions. She's raw and angry, but in the show, that gravity does not come across. Bella decided to play Ellie much like she did in season 1, as a snarky teen going through a rebellious phase. But unfortunately, the story is 5 years later, so Ellie's lack of emotional growth in those 5 years is very noticeable. Also, I don't understand why the writers made her consistently say every played out phrase from every movie, trying to break the tension, when Ellie's like, "He's right behind me, isn't he?" Or, "It's quiet. Too quiet." Which honestly seems like it would play well in a Sweet Life of Zack and Cody Halloween special episode, but not so much in a TV show about seeing your dad get impaled with a golf club the episode before. I mean, literally she just saw her father figure get stabbed in the head with a broken off golf club and die in her eyesight, and then the next episode she's just firing off cliche quotes. And let's not even get started with the hygienic problems in the intimacy scene. There's almost no visible transformation between her season 1 version and her more gritty second season counterpart. And granted, I think the writing and direction play a huge part in that, if not most of it, but still Bella's performance just felt juvenile. That is definitely not someone who's been hardened by trauma in a zombie apocalypse. And it's not just Ellie's personality that feels off, it's the show's handling of her sexuality that just feels clunky. I support LGBTQ+ representation entirely, but this just felt forced and disconnected. Not because of what it represents, but just because of how it was delivered. It just didn't feel grounded or real. Honestly, it's strange to see from a TV show like this, because we know they can do it. They did an amazing job in the first season with the Bill and Frank episode, where it just told an amazingly beautiful story that not only got me emotionally involved and rooting for these two characters, but did it in a way that I think fully represented the full spectrum of humanity in any kind of sexuality, which is, I think, what's important. These are human beings and these are human stories. After finishing the show, I went into Reddit and a bunch of other forums to see what people thought of the season. Seems like a lot of people felt the same way. Still, I want to be very clear. I'm not talking about the hate-filled crowd online spewing insults about Bella's appearance and sexuality. I do not agree with any of that. That's unacceptable. My criticisms are about performance and writing, not physical features. Also, something that I hate about the internet or websites or forums like Reddit is when someone makes a joke, everyone starts making that exact same joke, pretending like they just thought of it for the first time, when they're clearly baiting for likes and engagement on Twitter and Reddit, like that's gonna accomplish anything in their life. If you're gonna make a joke, be creative. And if it's been said already, well, tough shit. That's their joke. That's not your joke. But anyway, going back to what I was reading, I don't think that you need a traditionally beautiful protagonist to tell a great story. Look at anything that Gal Gadot has been in the last 5 years. Example,
Max Lord, you're putting yourself and everyone else in grave danger. I need you to give me the stone. What happened to it?
Example,
And enough champagne
to fill the Nile.
Example?
Kal-El, no.
I mean, she has the emotional range of a refrigerator. Or anything that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has appeared in his entire career. How is he always playing the exact same character? To be fair, there's a new A24 movie coming out soon where I've heard that he's playing an amazing new character that's supposed to redefine and show off his acting chops. So we'll wait and see. Or the worst offender, Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Again, these are all traditionally beautiful protagonists that always have a hard time making a compelling story. I don't think Ellie should look exactly how she looks in the video game either. That's not what any of this is about. No one was trying to make a visually accurate Ellie from the beginning. My issue is with the tone and the nuance and how the weight of her story is being completely botched. I don't know, I just don't feel like they're giving a chance for Ellie to be portrayed accurately. And granted, the video game was also very controversial when it came out, but not like this. The thing with the TV show is just how these criticisms are being handled. Instead of acknowledging the show's shortcomings, outlets that clearly have studio ties are pushing the narrative of review bombing and homophobia. And while that definitely does exist, unfortunately, on some corners of the internet, it's dismissive and dishonest to claim that that's the entire reason why people aren't happy with a TV show. Many fans like myself simply just think the TV show is not that good, and that's okay. But studios seem to have adopted a knee-jerk defense of blaming the audience instead of just taking feedback. And this isn't new. Disney is notoriously known for doing this over and over again. They did it with The Acolyte and the Obi-Wan TV show, and now most recently with Snow White. And yeah, there definitely are some bad faith critics out there, but I think that most of the people are just expressing that the writing, the direction, the characters, and the execution are grade A baby diaper stinky. And when every criticism gets lumped into hate, it shields the real enemy.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
People love good stories, no matter the gender, race, or sexual orientation of the characters. But when studios push out weak content and then immediately cry foul at any form of backlash, it just cheapens the message. And it's really frustrating and unfortunate because it creates this toxic cycle. The studio hides behind a moral shield, audiences feel like they've been gaslit and become cynical, and some of these people who had valid remarks spiral down into the red pill space, where unfortunately that's where they feel heard, even if it's toxic. What's worse is that this approach generally backfires. People trying to raise legitimate concerns get ignored or get labeled unfairly. It drives a wedge between creators and audiences, when what we're really asking for is just better storytelling and honest accountability. When you put out a stinker, it's totally okay to mess up, and I think we would all respect studios a lot more if they just came out and said, hey, we put out a stinker, that's on us, we'll learn from this and do better. But this defensive blame game, blame the audience playbook is just getting exhausting, and I think that's why this leads to this disconnect between the creators and movie makers and the audiences. Sometimes things will happen like Morbius, where Sony doesn't have its finger on the pulse and puts out a fucking stinker, and then we as a community just roast it, and even then they still don't realize that they're being roasted and that their movie is generally disliked, so they put it back into theaters thinking it's gonna explode because it became a meme, to then only tank even worse in the theater. But anyway, I think the most important takeaway from all of this is that I by no means support hate for the sake of hate, or think that the people hating on Bella for their appearance is a valid criticism. I think that Bella did an amazing job in the first season, so it shows off their acting chops in an amazing display. I think this is more of a mistake of the writers and directors. I don't want this to be confused with my review on The Last of Us Part 2. I think there's plenty of great reviews out there that do it a lot more justice. I think that this is just more my observation of studios, entertainment industry in general, falling back on the excuse of review bombing when they clearly just put out something that's not amazing, and it should stop. We're on to them. We're on to you guys. Try something new. Take accountability. Put out better content. If it stinks, it stinks. Let it sink like the Titanic. You're not going to change popular opinion by trying to shame people into liking your piece of poo movie. But you never know. You can also just keep trying. I'm just some dude talking to his camera on the internet. Anyway, that's gonna be it for this video. This one's a little different, but I thought it was worth talking about. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring that bell to not miss a video. And please, really do. This is a small channel, and every one of you who subscribes, likes and comments makes a huge difference and makes it a lot easier for me to continue to put out videos for you guys. And I also want to take this time to thank every one of you who's subscribed in these last 2 months. I'm extremely grateful and hope that you keep enjoying the videos that I'm putting out for you guys. I'm putting a lot of effort into these and I hope it's coming through on these videos. Like I said, I'm very passionate about doing this long run. So for those of you who are new, welcome. For those of you who have been around for a while, thank you for being here. And let's keep going. Let's keep this train running. I'm excited. Catch you in the next one. Peace.